Hi, this is Lacey, and in my speech today, I chose to discuss why we need to continue comprehensive sexual education in our schools. I became a mother just shy of 20, and at that point, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, where I was going to go in life. I was in a new relationship. I was going to be a young mother, and all of a sudden, it wasn't just about me anymore. It was about me and somebody else. And I had a son, and at that point on, all of my decisions were to be based around him and his well-being. 10 years later, I have a 10-year-old son and I have a 5-year-old daughter, and they bring me joy every day. But it makes me think about what I was taught in school. About sexual education, protection, pregnancy, the risks that come with being sexually active, and I don't really remember talking about it at all. Now, I would not take my children back for the world. I love them, they're great. We've made a great life. We've had some ups and downs, but we've got through them and we're here, and I'm raising my 2 beautiful children. But where I don't remember talking much about it, sometimes I think if I knew then what I know now, would I have waited to establish my own life a little sooner before I decided to have children. So, of course, my mom spoke with me about sex. But of course, as we all know, that first conversation that we have to have with our parents about sex can be awkward and maybe not quite so comfortable, and that's kind of how it was with me, so I didn't really bring it up to her much after that. I wish that my educators had done more to educate me and prepare me for the outcomes of pregnancy, teen pregnancy. Abstinence is the most effective way to prevent disease, unwanted pregnancies, but we have to face a realization that today's youth, a certain percentage of it is always going to engage in sexual activity. And since 1999, our pregnancy rate has declined by 51%, and our pregnancy birth rate has declined by 57%. Now, that has declined, but we are still one of the countries that have the highest teen pregnancy rates. 1 in 4 girls will get pregnant between the ages of 5 and 19 at least once, and 1 in 5 girls will have their second child between the ages of 5 and 19. And this can be a problem because teen mothers are less likely to finish school, they're more likely to end up on public assistance, they stay below the poverty line, and they can also have risks of health issues at such a young age when their own bodies are not fully developed. In 2010, we spent $9.4 billion on public assistance, foster care, incarcerations, and loss in tax revenue, which is a high percentage for, trying to prevent or trying to stabilize or help support young mothers, young parents, they can be fathers too, that are having a hard time raising their little ones. So in 1997, the Bush administration implemented a law or a budget, I guess, where they would only fund abstinent-only programs. So of the states that adopted the abstinent-only programs, they did not see very good results. In 2007, there was a study done that concludes that abstinent-only programs had little to no effect on the rate of teen pregnancy, whereas the states that adopted a sexual education program had showed very good results on reducing the risk of having sex, having unprotected sex, less unplanned pregnancies, some children even going back to abstinence. And these programs will always promote abstinence because abstinence is the most sure way. But when we are faced with the facts that our teenage population are most likely going to be sexually active, it is better to educate them and let them know that if that is the choice that they make, that there are options and there is protection and there's education, that we need to prepare them with for life and to make the best decisions for their future. And the Obama administration has since lifted the funding for abstinent only, and they have implemented a funding for comprehensive sexual education. And since then, we've seen a 40% delay in the initiation of sex, reduced number of people having multiple partners, and increased use of protection. There's a 30% reduced frequency, and some teenagers even return back to abstinence even though they've been sexually active before. And there's been a 60% reduce in unprotected sex, which is phenomenal for our generation that is coming up. For any generations that come after them, the more educated they are, the better decisions they're equipped to make. Our teens are in the center of their developmental stages, and sometimes making clear and conscious decisions is not always easy or even possible at that time, and it's a part of growing and learning for them, making mistakes and trying to change things and learn from them. So we need to keep this comprehensive sexual education in our schools. We need to be protecting our youth. We need to be protecting our future generations by not reliving a vicious cycle of people being born into poverty and not being able to get out of poverty, and people who have these unplanned pregnancies and are unable to properly provide for a child or even know the first thing about taking care of a child, and let alone even taking care of themselves, is a more important lesson to teach them before they take that step. So my stand is that I support the Obama administration in the implement of funding comprehensive sexual education. I see clear results, which we can all see if we do the research, and I hope that it's something that will stay. Someday we'll have a new leader and they might implement different rules, but I hope that the evidence speaks for itself, and I hope that this was informative as well as persuasive in helping you support the comprehensive sexual education that we provide to our kids, because I think it is very important to their future, and I think you should think it's that important too. Thank you.